Okay, so let's get to a serious story here. With Kilmar Abrego Garcia back into the United States and Mahmoud Khalil free and suing the Trump administration for $20 million, the most high-profile people detained by ICE or had been sent to CCOT are free, but not all of them. Andre Jose Hernandez Romero, the hairstylist that had escaped from Venezuela because he's a member of the LGBTQ community and is a dissident, well, he's still missing. Now, he'd applied to the U.S. for asylum, but instead, he was sent to a brutal concentration camp where inmates are shoved into cages and subject to beatings, severe deprivation, inadequate nutrition, and psychological torture over phony charges of being a gang member because he has tattoos. Oh my God, tattoos, scary tattoos, MS-13, Tren de Agua, no. But he's not. And so, and look, a lot of these gangs, especially Tren de Agua, do not even use tattoos to signify membership. Okay? And so, these are just phony charges. Now, why is he still there? Because the regime is making an example of him. And they're using him not only as an example, but had photo opt him and everything to try to tell migrants, stay the hell out of the country, this is going to happen to you. So he's been disappeared. According to Melissa Shepard, the Legal Services Director at Immigrant Defenders Law Center, who began representing Andre on a pro bono basis back in December of 2024, at the time he was being held at the Otay Mesa Detention Center, which is a privately run prison. So it's a private prison along the U.S.-Mexico border. According to Hirsch, he did everything the right way and still ends up getting sent to a concentration camp. Yeah, that's right. He had scheduled himself for an appointment, presented himself at a port of entry in order to claim political asylum. But not only did he get thrown in a private prison in March of 2025, things got so much worse for him. Shepard said in an interview, quote, "We say disappeared to El Salvador because that's essentially what it is. We cannot find him. No one has spoken to him since March 14th. Not his family, not his legal team. In the 4 months since he was labeled a criminal and sentenced to de facto life in prison without charge or trial or indeed anything approaching due process. The only evidence that he has that he is in El Salvador were the images of him being abused the day he arrived. Otherwise, he's gone. He's gone." Look, the U.S. government has refused to release the names of the people that it sent to this concentration camp, claiming that they're now wards of El Salvador. Of course, El Salvador is insisting that the 238 Venezuelans that were sent to CCOT are Trump's responsibility, not ours. So right now, they are basically playing diplomatic hot potato. Okay? And while they're doing that, innocent people are literally being tortured, may have even died. We don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. In fact, Shepard said, "We have not been able to speak with him or essentially just have any communication with him. And that has been troubling. And actually, the only way that we definitively know that he was sent to the prison in El Salvador was because of the time photographer who was there when the men first arrived. Still, to this day, the government has not provided any concrete evidence as to why he was specifically taken," she said, adding, "I think, unfortunately, he probably just fit the profile of a young Venezuelan man who had some tattoos that they could use for this, essentially, mass propaganda." Yeah. And that's really it. That's really it. It's profiling. It's racism. And look, again, that's even worse, right? You're taking an innocent man, you're using him as a photo op to get your MAGA supporters all excited in their naughty places, right? Because, they're punishing the illegals. But again, he might not be alive as a result of this, okay? The conditions that Abrego Garcia had described from his time at CCOT, show that, it's just complete and utter barbarism. These people are not being treated as human beings. He was literally tortured, beaten, deprived of sleep, and not given adequate food. He lost around 30 pounds at the time that he was there. And in conditions like that, people die. People die. And so we don't know if he's a victim, if he died. And I'm afraid that, we might never know. I don't know. But like I said, Representative Robert Garcia of California, he had tried to get some answers from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, but had no luck. Okay. And then afterwards, she tried to take it up with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Marco. In a June 9th letter, Garcia, joined by 4 dozen other Democrats, asked for diplomats to conduct a wellness check on Mr. Hernandez Romero, noting that his own mother and father do not know whether their son is even alive and healthy because of the actions of the United States government. So what did that letter do? Absolutely nothing. Garcia's office told Salon that it received no updates, while a spokesperson for the State Department declined to even say whether Andre is alive. Wow. As a general matter, we do not comment on congressional correspondence or on private diplomatic discussions, and have nothing further to share at this time. It's very likely they don't even know where he is or if he's alive. It's very possible that he's dead. And these people do not give a damn. That's what's important here to point out. They don't care. The right wing is a death cult. They are not pro-life. They are pro-torture and pro-death. If you're an immigrant, if your skin is the wrong color, or your name sounds a little bit too foreign, these people want you dead. It's true. It was never about being a criminal. It was always about race. It was about racial profiling. It's about white supremacy. It's people that openly buy into the Great Replacement conspiracy theory. And guess what? This is their answer to it. Concentration camps, mass deportations. And it's based all on non-existent evidence of gang ties. What an incredibly weak and pathetic excuse. I just remember all the people saying about, Trump and Nazis or everything like that. No, they're not actually. It's not fair to call them Nazis. No, that kind of stuff, that won't happen here. Except it is happening. We might not be at the gas chambers part yet, but we're heading in that direction. Anybody who's not blinded by BS partisanship can see that. Look, most of the people sent to CCOT or Alligator or Alcatraz or Auschwitz, whatever you want to call it, they have no criminal records. But it doesn't matter to them because the right loves what's happening. I see it in the comment section all the time. Just go on Twitter, X, or better yet, don't. Because you'll instantly lose faith in humanity if you had any left. They're cheering it on. They want Trump to build even more concentration camps. And not only that, but Republicans in Congress, they're shoveling more money into ICE. Okay? And that's after, by the way, years of the Democrats also putting more money into ICE, putting more money into police. See how well that's worked out. Look, ICE is now more well-funded than the military forces of most countries. And what do you think they're going to do? Well, they're already doing it. Okay, they're going around disappearing people like Andre for no reason. I mean, communities all over this country are seeing an unprecedented rise in raids against places of work. I thought they were all criminals. I thought they were sponging off the government benefits. If that's true, then why are you raiding workplaces? Yeah. But and not only that, look, there are literally heavily armed soldiers in the streets of American cities that are helping masked ICE agents to kidnap thousands of people a week. And some of them, of course, are never heard from again. Shepard said this, quote, "What we're seeing now is just a cruel agenda being carried out. And I think it's much bigger than just trying to remove or deter people from coming to the United States. Bingo. That's it. It's white supremacy. And it's absolutely sickening to watch. And I'm afraid that Andrew might end up being one of the probably many victims of these atrocities carried out by this far-right fascist government. And I can only hope that maybe one day the pendulum swings so far back, okay, to get someone who is actually lefty, super progressive in power, who is actually going to go back and hold these people accountable for what they've done. None of this, mealy mouth Obama, we look forward, not backwards BS. No, I want to see people get punished for what they've done. If this man is dead as a result of this criminal regime, then I want to see jail time. I want to see prison time. I want to see war crimes charges, the charges, of crimes against humanity. Let's see some real action, because there is absolutely blood on all of these people's hands. All right, I think I'm pretty clear on that.